Buffalo Fanatics, what's going on? This is Pierre the Kingpin, and I wanted to talk to you today about Cigars International, which is the ultimate destination for premium homemade cigars. Known as the industry leader, Cigars International offers the largest selection, unbeatable prices, and a customer service experience that's second to none. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned vet, Cigars International makes enjoying cigars easy, approachable, and fun. Cigars International is the go-to retailer for all things cigars, with the biggest selection of premium homemade cigars available anywhere. Cigars International offers unbeatable deals and discounts, making it easy to stock up on your favorite or try something new without breaking the bank. With fast free shipping and their 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can shop with confidence knowing that Cigars International stands behind every order. They have good relationship with vendors that helps provide great low prices. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned pro, Cigars International makes it easy to find the right cigar with helpful guides, staff reviews, and expert advice. It's not just about cigars. Cigars International also offers a wide range of accessories and more to elevate your smoking experience. Check out the great deals every day at cigarsinternational.com. That's cigars, CIGARS, international.com. Use code FANATICS at checkout for 20% off your order of $50 or more, plus free shipping. Or visit www.cigarsinternational.com/fanatics, and the discount will automatically apply. Again, use code FANATICS at checkout for 20% off your order of $50 or more, plus free shipping. Or visit www.cigarsinternational.com/fanatics, and the discount will automatically apply.
What's up, Buffalo Fanatics? Josh Allen here. Just wanted to say, go Bills.
Yo, what's good, Buffalo Fanatics? How you guys doing? Yo, I know you're probably wondering what in the heck is going on right now. Why are you guys on a Saturday morning? But guess what? This is a brand new special from Buffalo Fanatics called The Writers Club. And you are joined by myself, yours truly, the Rev. And I've got some others with me in here that we are going to get on right now. As you can see up the top right-hand corner of the screen, it's my man, Zach Vaughn. Zach, what's going on, baby? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. And what's up, Buffalo Fanatics? All of Fanatics of Buffalo here live. Going to bring you all these awesome writers, highlight some of their great pieces that you see on the website every day. Pumped to get into it.
Yeah, it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. I got Zach up there, and I've got Kevin Syracuse below me. What's up, Kev? How you doing? Let the people know what's happening.
How's it going, guys? Pretty pumped to be doing this. I've recorded some stuff for Fanatics, but nothing live like this, so I'm pumped to see what we got going today.
Man, hey, it's going to be off the chain. And guys, in case you don't know, so look, here at Buffalo Fanatics, look, writers are people too, okay? They are people too, and we love them. We've got some of the best writers and contributors in the business, hands down. And my man, Zach Vaughn and Kev Syracuse, they are the editors of the Buffalo Fanatics. So I'm going to give everybody just a time, just an opportunity, because you know what? I don't think that a lot of people who are watching or who really know actually have an idea of who you guys are. So I'm going to give you guys just a couple of minutes. I'll start with Zach to go ahead and just let the people know who you are. Kind of, just a short synopsis of your background and where they can follow you. Go ahead, Zach. Boom.
So I am the editor-in-chief of Buffalo Fanatics. Basically, everything that goes up there, I touch it up, make it look pretty. But obviously, it's all the great writers that do the great work. So you can follow me on Twitter at zvon2712. Share my Bills takes, share my not-so-Bills takes. Memeing, a lot of just having fun. So
there we go. And then my man Kev on the bottom of the screen. Kev, let him know what's up.
Hey guys, so I graduated from Fredonia State last year, so spring of 2021. And as I was looking for a bigger broadcasting job, I do some local broadcasting. I call high school sports games around here. I was looking for a job, and I reached out to you guys at Buffalo Fanatics. Came on and started writing for you guys, and within a couple months, Zach asked me if I want to be the assistant editor. So now me and Zach have this good. We have this chemistry where I mow lawns and do some landscaping during the day. That's my day job. So he edits during the day, and then I'll come and edit at night. So we got this one good got a nice 1-2 punch going on here.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And we are excited to have you guys. And my man Jason Taylor pops in. He's talking about riders are kickers, man. They're people too. You got that right. You got that right. And we've been wanting to get this thing popping for a long time now, and I'm excited to be able to bring these guys on. And guess what? They're not the only ones. We've got some others that are coming on the scenes. A lot of your favorite riders, a lot of the riders that you've come to love and enjoy from BF are going to be joining the show this morning and in weeks to come. And so we are excited about that indeed. But guys, how does it feel to be talking about the Buffalo Bills on a Saturday morning? You guys in the chat, let me know what's happening. I see some people in here popping off talking about live. Big Baller Breen says, BF on a Saturday, it's a good day. Let's go. No doubt indeed, baby. Shout out to Ronald Enix in the house. Yo, what's up, Ron? What's wrong? Good to see you. Good to see you. So, hey, people are coming in the chat. And to everybody who's out there watching, who will watch the replay, thank you so very much for joining and watching the Buffalo Fanatics. This is the Riders Club, brought to you by none other than the Buffalo Fanatics Network. And if by any chance you are still not plugged into the Fanatics Network, do me this favor. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel with bell notifications on so you can stay up to date with all things Buffalo Fanatics, and follow these guys and gals who are coming on the screen to join us a little later in the show. Fellas, I am so incredibly excited about this. Anytime we get a chance to talk about the Bills, it's a done deal for me, baby. I'm ready to go. And we are. I know a lot of people say, hey, this is the dog days of training camp, and not even training camp, it's the off season in general. Training camp is on the horizon, but it's a dead season. But look, there is no such thing as a dead season for the Fanatics Network, baby. We're going to pump out some of the content. We're going to let you know what's going on with the Bills all day, every day, 24/7, 365, because that's how we do it at the Fanatics. So, guys, are you ready to get into the show, man? Hey, I have got, like I said, Zach up here. I've got Kevin coming on. I've got my man Kaiir Demos coming on later on the show. I've got my man Bryce coming on the show, and we've got a little short snippet and a surprise cameo from somebody that you don't know, but you may have seen on Twitter. She gets a little chaotic, but we're going to talk about her a little bit later in the show. But, we have got to dive into the topics of the show. And, guys, look, we've got some stuff on the docket. We've got some stuff on the docket. We're talking about state of the Bills defensive line, and that's something that I want to dive into this morning as we get going, right? State of the Bills D-line. The Bills defensive line underwent a lot of transformation this offseason, right? It underwent a lot of transformation, and Brandon Beane has done, I think, an incredible job with that. And looking at some of the additions that he made on the defensive line, understanding some of the weaknesses, and he did an incredible job. That's what I think. Zach, Kev, what do you guys think about what he has done on the defensive line so far?
Well, considering where this team was last year, just 13 seconds away from the AFC Championship, and everything, we knew this team was very close to being Super Bowl contenders, and that the one thing they probably would have needed was a premier pass rusher or just some better help on the defensive line.
Right.
And Beane took that and said, hold my beer. And then he got DeQuan Jones, who is an underrated one tech. And then he brought back two fan favorites in Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson, who wanted to be here. That's the big key. They want to be here.
No doubt.
And then they brought in a nice young player with a lot of upside, Tim Settle, underrated for that Washington beef,
right?
Over from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and I wanted. I've had my eyes on Tim Settle for a while, and I actually wanted him. I think I don't know if there were trade rumors or something like that. I don't know, but I was watching. I'm like, dang man, if we could had a chance to get a guy like that, I think it'd be great. And I think a lot of people may be sleeping on him because of course Vaughn is getting all the love. We know about Daquan Jones, but Tim Settle, he's kind of like almost hiding in the bushes, right? But I think that he is an incredible asset to the defensive line. Kev, what were your thoughts about what Brandon Beane did this offseason across the D line?
Well, I love it because, like Zach said, the Bills just needed that one finisher. They needed that one guy to put them over the edge, and that's what Von Miller's for. And then you add in guys like Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips. Those guys are going to bring the juice. And I think it's just going to be a great combination. And I love how he did it because he used free agency to build up through the offensive lines. That's what he always talks about. You build from up front. Everything starts up front, and then you work your way out. So he really built up those lines with solid, big, beefy bodies, guys that have proven that they can do it because they tried the route with the draft before between guys like A.J. Epinesa, Stevie Basham, Greg Rousseau, and they're great. But we're trying to win right now. Our Super Bowl window is this year, next year, and maybe the year after that. So 2 or 3 years before that window starts to close. As much as I love those three guys that I mentioned, they're not ready yet. So that's why you go get a guy like Von Miller to A, be that finisher to get Patrick Mahomes, and B, teach those guys how to finish games so that when he's done, whenever his contract runs out, then Greg Rousseau is ready to take over for Von Miller. And then in the draft they drafted the skill set positions. I mean, they got some other positions, but talk about someone like James Cook, that's they almost had Jason McKissick, but I think they really placed the emphasis on building through the offensive and the defensive lines,
which is where it starts. It starts right in the trenches, right? And they went ahead. Brandon Beane did a great job of adding to that talent, adding to the trenches, especially across the defensive line. And I love what you had mentioned about the younger guys like Greg Rousseau and AJ Epinesa. These guys are not really ready yet. And they could have elected to bring in, Jerry Hughes again for another year, or maybe even Mario Addison again, but they decided to get somebody who was a proven premier pass rusher, in my opinion, a potential Hall of Fame guy, and Von Miller to add incredible talent, but then wisdom, and he can really school up the younger dudes. Von Miller, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but he even mentioned that, I ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I intend on playing out my contract. And so as we are talking about the defensive line, I want to bring on my man Kaiir Demos because he is a Buffalo Fanatics contributor, and he wrote an incredible piece. In case you guys have not gotten the chance to see it, you probably had it because it just dropped. So go ahead and watch that. Go ahead and read it on the Buffalo Fanatics Network. And matter of fact, while I'm here talking about this, since I brought it up, Kaiir, hold on, man. We're gonna get you in just a second. You see that chocolate face right there? That's the man right there we're talking about. But he's coming here in just a little short while. But if you want to find incredible Buffalo Fanatics Bills content, I don't know a better spot that you can get it at than the BF Network app. You can find it in the Google Play Store. You can find it in the App Store. But don't take my word for it. Check this out.
Overdrive.
Overdrive, baby. There we go. The BF Network app, an incredible app with a whole lot of resources. I mean, all things, when I say all things Buffalo Fanatics and Buffalo Bills, we literally mean it, from articles to vids to gear, merch, all of that. And this is where you can find all of these incredible BF contributor articles on the BF Network app. So be sure to go ahead and download that. And speaking of BF contributor, I've got my man right here below me. You see him right there. Kaiir Demos, who put out an article today entitled "Reading the Rooms." Man, reading the rooms. Buffalo Bills defensive line. Kaiir, what's going on, baby? Welcome to the club. How you feeling?
I'm good, Rev. Thanks for having me on. Kev, Zach, I hope you guys are doing well today, too. I'm just glad to talk some ball with you all this morning.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Let everybody know, especially a lot of the viewers who are probably seeing you for the very first time. I know you've made guest appearances here and there, but let everybody know just a little bit of your background, real quick.
Yeah, so for me, it's been great being able to contribute with Buffalo Fanatics over the past couple of months. I actually was working with the Bills last season in the community relations department as an intern, and Buffalo born and raised, former football player myself, briefly played at UB and St. John Fisher as well. Shout out to the Fish, Zach, you already know. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, just it's been fun to be able to stick around the game. I'm actually my day job now is actually I contribute with Teamwork Online. For those of you in the sports world, you guys know what that is, the sports recruiter site. So it's been fun to be able to just stick around the game, and I plan to do that for the rest of my days.
There you go, man. And we are at BF, man. We're glad to have you, brother. We are glad to have you, man. Enjoy your pieces, man, and just enjoy your attitude, man. You're a great guy, a great addition to the team, no doubt. And now you had mentioned St. John Fisher, so I'm glad. I wonder, like, how do you? There it is. There it is. Go ahead, rep it, baby. Rep it all day, every day. Rep it. There it is. Yeah, there you go. So I'm guessing that you're pretty stoked, pretty excited about the fact that training camp is headed back to St. John Fisher.
Oh, absolutely. I think I remember when I was working for the Union Sun and Journal a couple of years ago, the last year that camp was at Fisher, I got to cover it. I think it was the last day of practice, and talking with Josh Allen, talking with Tremaine Edmonds, and talking with Coach McDermott, I'm like, man, I wonder if they're ever going to come back here. And I mean, it really looked like they weren't, especially with the pandemic, especially with the new facility now, the training facility now. So, but I'm glad to see that, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott want to keep that connection in Rochester. And I'll actually be moving out that way around that time too. So it'll be nice to be able to be that much closer to the guys as the season gets rolling.
There you go.
I'm pretty jealous because I live in Fredonia, and that's where the Bills used to have training camp. So I've been pleading to get them to come back to Fredonia, but they're back at St. John Fisher. But I'm sure you guys are happy. It's a beautiful complex. I mean, I had a couple friends that went to school up there, and I went to training camp a few years ago, saw some of the guys as they were just crossing the street. It's cool to just see them act like normal human beings, even though you got to respect their privacy because they have all those security guards saying, all right, come on, keep moving it along. When they used to come to Fredonia, it was awesome.
That's dope. I can't wait. Like, for me, I have never ever been to Buffalo. Never in my life. My dad grew up a Bills fan, and he was actually from Buffalo, from East Buffalo. But I never been in my life, and so I'm excited. I think I'm gonna finally have the chance to go this year to catch a game. So I can't wait for that. I'm gonna be like, I don't even know my emotions, man. I'm sure all of you guys have been to a Bills game, right? I'm sure about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So like I don't even know what to expect. I'm probably gonna be crying a little bit, just ecstatic because I'm an emotional kind of guy. So that's how I do it. But man, the first time walking up to Highmark Stadium and seeing that, man, it's gonna be, I don't even know, man. So Kevin, you talking about jealous? I'm jealous, man.
I would say this. It's just gonna depend on what time of year you go. Because if it's September, it's rocking, it's rolling. Yeah. The tailgates are going crazy. Once it gets to December and January, those tailgates still are going crazy, but you might need to do a little bit more tailgating on those days.
Yeah, I'm a Texas guy.
In your extremities.
What's up, Kev?
You're going to lose a little bit of feeling in your extremities. So if you want to be totally feeling it 110%, you better see the season opener against the Titans.
And I'm a Texas guy, man. Raised in Texas. And so I'm used to the heat. I'm not used to it. I mean, anything like below 60, I'm putting on a jacket. I'm like, I don't know what's going on right here, man. It's getting cold. So I was watching like last year, watching the game, playoff game against the Patriots. I don't know how in the world these guys were out there doing it. I have no clue. And you've got, and then we got the clip of my man Fitzpatrick in there just going shirtless, with the taco meat showing. I'm like, I would freeze to death. I couldn't do it. I don't know how anybody out there can handle that kind of cold, but I guess if you're raised around there, it's all good. But So I got to get my gear ready if it's late, if it's any later in the season, man. I'm gonna be like a little baby, man. I'm gonna be like the only guy with a jacket. Everybody out there with Zumba shorts on, and like, who's this? He must be from Texas. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Freezing my tail off.
Like that game, with Fitz out in the out in the elements, that just goes to show how connected the players and the team is to Bills Mafia and just the fan base here. It's unbelievable.
Man, no doubt. And I love Fitz, man. I love Fitz. I love everything he did for Buffalo, man. I just love the Bills, man. I love the Bills, and man, I'm excited about camp. It's around the corner, July 24th, gentlemen. July 24th, the first day of Bills training camp. I can't wait, and that's when we're going to get a closer look at this defensive line that we're talking about here. And Kaiir, so you put up this article here about the Buffalo Bills defensive line, and you open it up with a question, wanting to know how much better did Brandon Beane get this group. So go ahead and just, if you can, just talk about what you see out of the Bills defensive line, and especially as you're about to mention some of the guys like Von Miller and whatnot.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the one big thing, from the outside looking in, naturally people would just assume, hey, number one defense in the league last year, number one in points allowed, a unit that had 42 sacks, which was, I believe, tied for 11th, and led the league in pressure rate. But at the same time, some of those numbers lie a little bit. The Bills had
hold on, Kaiir. I got to say, I'm glad you mentioned that off the top. So you said led the league in pressure rate. Now, which one of the guys on the defensive line was the dude who was really just like, a lot of people were throwing this stat out, right? A lot about his pass rush win rate percentage, right? Who was that guy?
Now,
that was Hughes, right? Was it Jerry Hughes?
Jerry Hughes,
right?
Yeah.
And so Zach is over here nodding too. Like I'm saying, like a lot of Bills fans were like, "Yo, Jerry Hughes this, Jerry Hughes that," and no, trust, I'm not dissing on Jerry Hughes, but like you had mentioned, like a lot of those stats can be misleading, right? Mm-hmm. The pass rush win rate, then all that kind of stuff, it's misleading. It's not really representative of a true elite defensive line, right?
For sure. And you got to also take context into things. The Bills obviously were, a high-powered offensive team last year. The defense, I think, played much better than it did in 2020, to say the least. But, there were some games where the Bills were up. So naturally, you're going to be, having teams, more pass heavy at that time, trying to catch up and things of that nature. So I do think the Bills benefited from that. I do think the defense as well played against some. I don't want to take shots, but when you got Davis Mills and 2 games against a game against Zach Wilson and a game against Mike White with the Jets, and just some of the other lower tier quarterbacks that the defense faced as well. So, but I think just thinking about some of the guys that the team had to address, Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes, as well as Vernon Butler and Harrison Phillips. There were those guys did do well and had production and things of that nature. But just one thing for context, this is crazy to even think about. Yeah, can you name the last time a Bills player had more than 10 sacks in a season?
Oh man, I'm willing to guess it was either the last time Jerry did it or it was when Marcel Darius had it.
Lorenzo Alexander in 2016.
Lorenzo did it. Dang.
2016. But that was, think about that. That was 5 seasons, before the 2021 season. So at that point, it just goes to show, I think it was the sum was greater than the parts with the Bills D-line last year. But I think just some of the additions, obviously adding Von Miller, but bringing in Daquan Jones, bringing in Tim Settle, bringing, Phillips and Shaq back. I think, these moves really are, I think it just really, I personally think that the Bills have the deepest D-line in the league now. They've got essentially three waves of starting level guys, in their unit now. So
now you mentioned some guys here, and I had talked about them, I think a week or two ago, about some underrated guys who are kind of going under the radar. Maybe underappreciated a little bit, even though he hasn't even played a game. I like Daquan Jones, man. I like that addition to the squad. I like what he brings to the defensive line, and I think his impact can have more of an impact throughout the entire defense than just getting sacks or whatever. I think his presence in the middle bodes well, not only for the defensive line and other guys like Ed, like Vaughn, like Greg, but also the guys behind him. So talk about Daquan Jones, man, because you had mentioned him a little bit in your piece. So what did you see out of Daquan Jones that you like, and what do you think he brings to the squad?
And this is no offense to Star Latule because he was a great player in his
man, we're
prime.
gonna just keep it real, man. Keep it real, Kaiir.
Keeping it real.
That contract was atrocious, right? And we didn't get out of Star what we expected to get out of him. I know McDermott's gonna talk about, he's not a stats guy. Look, I get it. Okay, not a stats guy, but he kind of fell off the map, and there was some moments and some lapses at times. I'm like, Star, where are you? Like, what are you doing? I expected a dominant presence, and it seemed like there were times when he just wasn't bringing it, man. It seemed like he would take plays off. He would just be content with just I don't know, man. I just didn't appreciate it. Maybe around the first couple of years, but after that, man, I was like sour on him quick. So you ain't got to apologize for Star Latule, baby. You ain't got to worry about that. Go ahead, talk about
Daquan. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Star, obviously, he sat out the 2020 season, and the hope was that he could come back and return to form in 2021. Yeah. It just wasn't the case, and I think bringing in a guy like Daquan Jones, he gives you that same run stuffing capability that Star was intended to bring, but also too, I think he can provide even more so as a pass rusher. But I think the biggest thing with bringing a guy like him in is you're able to help set up Ed Oliver and let him roam free. Let him just do his thing at 3 tech and wreak havoc on guards. So it'll be exciting to see what those two do in the middle, because I can't really name too many tandems better than Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones inside.
Oh man, Kev, what do you chime in? Kev, what do you think about that tandem of within the inside of Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver? Because I love that, because we finally have, like you mentioned, Kaiir, we finally have a legit one tech, and I'm excited about what that's going to do for Ed Oliver.
Yeah, me too. I love that. Before I get into Daquan Jones, do we think that he's going to be starting or Tim Settle?
That's a great question. See, this is the one thing I
love.
love.
I think between Jones and Settle, that's also a great 1-2 punch. And then you throw in Ed Oliver. That's a big 3 right there.
And can't Tim Settle? Can he move around like from 1 tech to 3 tech?
Can.
So he provides that type of versatility. Yeah. In my eye, I was thinking, Tim Settle will probably be like maybe that 3 tech behind Ed Oliver, or if they decide to go like jumbo package or something like that, you bring Tim Settle on with Daquan Jones. I don't know, but like you had mentioned earlier, man, I mean, it gives them these waves of pass rush, and it gives them different looks. They can do different packages. They want to go big and heavy. They can do that, man. So I love that. But go ahead, Cam. I'm sorry to cut you off though. You're talking about Ed Oliver.
Oh no, that's right. I was saying that those 3 right there, that could be a 3-headed monster on the inside, because like you're saying with Latule, we thought that was a great signing at first. Yeah, the contract was hefty, but then we saw over the years that, like you said, Rev, I don't want to speak without knowing that he took plays off, but it just seemed like he didn't have that juice. And then when he came back, the 2020 season, he was out. Then this year he comes back, and then he was in, he was out, in, out. I'm going to take an off day. And then I think he had some overlapping conditions, just some long-term effects with COVID, because didn't he have those heart problems too?
I'm not sure if he had the heart problems. I know. Was it Sweeney who had that condition? Yeah, it was Sweeney. But coming off of COVID, and see, and this was my thinking. So he sat out. So Stars sat out that year, right? But then there were rumors about hey, is he contemplating retirement? So he comes back. But then when he came back and caught it, at that point I was like, I don't think Star is going to come back. He did, but he was a shell of himself. But at the end of the day, I mean, we thank him for what he did, early on, in his tenure with the Bills. But we needed more. We needed more from that interior defensive line position, didn't we, Zach?
Yeah, definitely. You need more from it, because I especially think back to those games like against Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, where obviously they're great backs. They're going to get their yards, but they just kind of like plowed through the defensive line like it was
like it was nothing, man.
Flapping back and forth doors in an old-timey saloon. It was just like hard to watch. And like Trudy Leavell said in the comment, there's one person we haven't really mentioned yet, and that's Jordan Phillips.
Yes.
He's a big dude. He can rush the passer. His best year with Buffalo, he had 9.5 sacks.
Yeah.
I remember that game against Miami where it was like a goal line stand or whatever, and he just kept trying to time the snap, and he got called a couple times for false starts. It's just I love that about him.
Yes.
And being able to have so much beef on the interior of that defensive line is huge. It's going to be critical for them.
Yeah, and especially when you consider a lot of the teams that we're going to be facing that have those running games. I mean, we got Tennessee off the top, right? Our home opener. So, I mean, that defensive line, the interior of that defensive line is going to get tested early and often. And so I hope they're ready for it. I no doubt, I believe they are going to be ready for it. But like you had mentioned, Jordan Phillips, I loved Jordan Phillips when he was here. There were times when I was like, dang, man, I wish he would be a little bit more stout against the run. But I mean, a guy like 6'6", 340, I mean, with that kind of athleticism, who can brush the passer with that kind of speed and agility, like you just don't really see big men moving like that. And so, yeah, I love it. You add him to the fold with there are just going to be so many combinations, man, across this interior of the defensive line. And I completely forgotten. I'm sitting here thinking about Daquan and Tim Settle and Ed, but yeah, I mean, Jordan Phillips is going to be, he's another incredibly underrated addition to the defensive line. Now you had talked about also, Kaiir, Greg Rousseau, my man Groot, young guy. He showed promise his rookie year last year, and I think he's perfect for McDermott's scheme. He's at power defensive end. I don't necessarily think that we can expect to see him being like this huge sack guy. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kaiir, based upon your analysis and stuff like that. But I think he's going to be that guy who is going to be stout against the run, setting the edge, and he brings the length so he can rush the passer whenever he needs to. But I don't expect him to be that bendy edge rusher like a Von Miller or even like Jerry Hughes back in his prime.
Yeah, it's the strong side power end. It's definitely in a 4-3 defense or 4-40 front defense. I think it's so important for just more so the complete skill set that you have to have. Obviously, Mario Williams, obviously Bruce Smith back in the day. Those guys dominated, and did they have some tremendous huge sack number years? Of course, because they were special talents. But I think Greg has the athleticism to be able to get there. I'm not saying I think he's going to be a 13, 14, 15 sack a year guy, but he does have the skill set and the tools to be able to get to that. But I think it's an even more encouraging development knowing that he can play that strong side end, and you don't have to, I don't want to say hide, but you don't have to hide him on the weak side. And again, I'm not saying that Von Miller's being hidden on the backs or on the weak side. I just think he fits in that role tremendously. I mean, you swap out Jerry Hughes for Von Miller, so and that's, again, no offense to Jerry Hughes, but that's a future Hall of Famer we're talking about in Von. So, but I think the biggest thing with Greg is the fact that he does have a true legit edge rusher on the opposite side of him now. I mean, we saw what DeMarcus Ware did for Von Miller. We saw how Bradley Chubb when he came in Denver, and then even last year in Denver, in LA, when Von was playing with Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald. So I think just being able to take the next step in terms of growth, development, maturity. I mean, the guy's 22 years old. He's built like a Greek god.
Oh my gosh, he is
so
huge.
I mean, I have visions of the play against Kansas City, the pick against Mahomes. Like,
oh my gosh, like that's see, you can't. That doesn't grow on trees, man. Right? You just can't find a guy like that 6'5", 6'6". What is he like? I think he even got bigger this year, this offseason. He had mentioned, I think he added like 7 to 10 pounds. So he's like, what, 265, 270 maybe. That dude is humongous, man. And with that kind of reach, he's gonna be deadly on the edge for a lot of quarterbacks who are trying to make those dump offs, especially like those screen passes. I mean, he just knocks them off. You had mentioned something in your article though about Greg that maybe people are just kind of didn't really look at, because while they were looking at the sack numbers or whatever, but that's the fact that he is, to be so young and to be a rookie, he played an incredibly a large amount of snaps, but he had very good technique in his play for a young guy. Talk about that a little bit for me, Kaiir.
I honestly think that like I was saying about him developing as a strong side end, I really think that was probably the most encouraging thing about his rookie season because, he had a lot of hype in terms of, he had a huge 15 sack season in 2020, and then, or I'm sorry, in 2019. Then he sat out the 2020 season, obviously due to COVID and everything, but still went in the first round off of tools and, just, his raw ability. But that was, I think the most encouraging thing to see, seeing how well he played against the run. I mean, he finished with a, 70.2, I believe, overall PFF grade.
PFF grade, yeah.
I mean, that's solid for a rookie. You really can't ask for much, especially I know, some of the numbers aren't eye-popping, but you got to think he was doing that for best defense in the league. So
right,
to do that as a rookie, to do that as a guy who's really only been playing primarily defensive end 2 seasons when you consider
in college.
One year at Miami where he started, his rookie year. I mean, most of his time in high school, he was playing defensive back and wide receiver, which speaks to his athleticism. But
the dude is going to be, man, his upside is so to the moon, baby. To the is out the roof. And man, Zach, talk to me about this, man, because I love how Brandon Beane just finds these guys with so much upside and takes huge gambles on them, on the athleticism, on the sheer freakness of these guys' traits. I mean, we've seen it in Josh Allen, we've seen it in Tremaine Edmonds. Talk about how Brandon Beane has managed to do pretty well so far when you look at, I guess, those 3 guys with those traits.
Well, I think the big key here is you can take as many risks, you can put all your chips on as many athletic, tall, trait guys as possible, but it doesn't mean anything unless they have the work ethic to back it up.
Yes.
That's why Josh Allen has been so successful. He's humble. He's hungry. Groot seems to be heading in that direction. Kaiir Elam, who I know we'll talk a little bit more about as the show goes on, he showed that during the combine process, taking notes, all that.
Right. Same with Tremaine, too. I mean, these guys are – and they're young. They're young, and they have their heads on straight. Isn't that right, Kevin? I mean, like that's incredibly important. And so when you see Brandon Beane bringing these guys in and Sean McDermott with the whole culture, it just makes sense and it fits. Like I know a lot of people were like, and myself included at times, when they first came on, we're like, man, I'm tired of hearing about all this culture, but the culture really matters. I mean, like having guys that are this young with this mindset, this growth mindset. Here's another one of those McDermottisms, right? The growth mindset. It only bodes well for themselves and the team.
Yeah, and the other thing about that is they just have a knack for not only evaluating that talent, but making those tough business decisions. Like we talked about Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, and then on the inside, Harrison Phillips, Latulele, even someone like Justin Zimmer, who came up huge in that New England game in 2020.
He did.
And these are tough decisions where we're sitting there thinking, well, these are great guys, fan favorites. They've done a lot in the community. Maybe we'll just find a couple $1 million and we'll give Jerry Hughes, maybe he'll take the vet minimum. Maybe Harrison Phillips will give us a team-friendly deal. Okay. But Beane has that ability, and McDermott too, but I mean, Beane's a general manager, but they just have that ability to be able to move on at the right time and say, hey, thank you for everything that you did for us, but we're going in a separate direction. Right. And we need to take that next step. And as much as we love you, and for as much as you have done for our team and for our city, we need to get just that much better, which means that we're going to have to go sign someone like Daquan Jones, Tim Settle. I'm glad someone brought up Jordan Phillips in the comments because I completely forgot about that, because when we're talking about the big free agent signings, it was Settle and Jones, and then Jordan Phillips was like on that third wave.
Yeah, right.
But I don't think he should be forgotten about, because he could totally start next to Ed Oliver with that juice that he brings.
Absolutely.
So that's another great thing. Like I was saying with Beane, how, you lose Harrison Phillips, and we were sad about that, Justin Zimmer, Star Latulele, but you replace him with Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, and Jordan Phillips. That just takes you so much further already on paper, and the season hasn't even started yet.
It does, and I mean, Dane, we didn't even mention Shaq Lawson, so I mean, Shaq coming back too. So the defensive line is going to be legit. I'm excited about it. Even Von Miller, and Von Miller kind of, I don't know. There's been a little bit of controversy, sort of. There was an athletic piece that came out, and we hear some little rumblings about Von Miller's path to Buffalo. Zach, you want to touch on it real quick before we close this segment out?
Yeah, it was interesting because the Athletic released a piece about it. It's a very good piece. I know that somebody had posted the link earlier in the comments. If you are able to access it, check it out, read it. It's well worth the time. And there's a lot of interesting tidbits, and it's almost like Von Miller was destined to be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Way back in the draft process, he was so convinced that he was going to be drafted by the Bills at number 3 that he wore a Bills cap during his leading up to the combine, that during his workouts, and he still has that cap with him.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
There's a couple other things too. Like, one is that Brandon Beane, we all know about how he pursued Emmanuel Sanders for years. With Von Miller, all the way back to 2019, he was calling the Broncos about him, and he called the Broncos again about him at the trade deadline. Nothing materialized until this offseason. And also, another interesting connection is that Von Miller's agent once represented Bruce Smith, who helped recruit him to Buffalo.
So it seemed like everything was just kind of lining up for Von to come back, and and so I mean it worked out. It's the tail end of his career, but I think Von has a lot left in the tank. Do I foresee him getting a whole lot of snaps? I don't know. In McDermott's scheme, there's going to be a rotation, and so that may bode well for a guy like Von Miller at the tail end of his career, using him as that closer, so to speak. But I don't know how much he's going to be. I don't know how much Sean McDermott is going to be able to hold that guy back, man. I think he's a dog. You got to let him out there, man. You got to let him out there and let him get his feet wet, so to speak. But I know that McDermott has the end in mind, right? He's trying to hold him and prevent and just really just keep him for the playoff run. So we don't want to run his tank out. But man, Von Miller even just on a limited, I think, snap count, right? Can still be incredibly productive in this defense. And so I'm excited about that. I can't wait for the defensive line. I can't wait to see how all these guys mesh in training camp in July 24th at show them the shirt, baby. Show them the shirt, Kaiir. Show them the shirt.
Yes, sir.
Whoa. There we go.
Or 2 weeks from today.
There we go. 2 weeks from today, man. 2 weeks from today. Crazy. St. John Fisher. It's going to be phenomenal, man. I can't wait. We're finally going to get to see a little bit of live action from our favorite Buffalo Bills. You know who they are. And so, Kaiir, man, look, brother, appreciate you so much, man, for hopping on with us today, joining the club. You're going to be back more often, no doubt about it. But as we close out the segment and move on, tell everybody, and I'm a solo you up, baby. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you got going on next.
Absolutely.
My bad. Hold on, baby. No, they don't want to see me. They want to see you. They want to see you. There we go. Tell them.
No problem at all. I did want to share the last thing about the Bills D line. One thing I've always loved about deep defensive lines, it just reminds me of the 2017 Eagles. You can really go anywhere if your D line is that deep. But for me, my socials, you see it there at Riri_Demos. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Also, Kaiir Demos on Facebook. Add me, follow my page. I'm going to be posting some Reading the Room stories throughout the summer, and then we'll be getting some coverage going throughout the season. I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to be taking the fantasy angle or not yet, but we'll discuss that once it comes. So I appreciate you guys and just can't wait to see what we got coming.
That's what's up, Kaiir. You guys give Kaiir a hand. Yo, you guys in the chat, go ahead and put some clap emojis up in there. Give my man Kaiir some love. Kaiir, appreciate you, man, coming on the show. Have a blessed weekend. We'll talk to you later. Guys, man, Kaiir showing up, man. Yo, that was good. He brought some incredibly good insight, man, about the Buffalo Bills defensive line that I am so stoked about, because I think now this position could be the deepest that we have on the roster. On the roster all together, man. I can't wait, man. I'm excited about it, man. So, guys, we got to keep the show moving. Keep the show moving. You guys, look here. All of you all in the chat, Saturday morning, appreciate you so very much for joining Buffalo Fanatics and the Riders Club. Do me this favor. Like this show, comment, and subscribe to the channel with those bell notifications on. All right, as we keep it moving, guys. So next up on the docket, guys, we have to jump into this, and I don't even need to bring the man on because he's already here. This dude right there, Kevin, my man Kevin. You talked about something so interesting, man. That I love, and me, I'm older, even though I look young. I'm older. I'm 41 years old.
You're 41.
What?
You're 41?
I'm 41. Yeah, I thought you said you're 48. I was like, what? No way. Yeah,
Oh, no. I would not have just
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm 41, and so I grew up in a time, man, when it was about those running backs, man. Like, those bell cow backs, and even some of my I guess my old school desires to have that kind of a back are still lingering there a little bit. Even though the NFL has kind of changed a little bit as it pertains to that. Though there's still maybe a handful of those bell cow guys, but you had written a piece, man. You had written a piece. And by the way, you guys download the BF Network app if you want to know everything that these incredibly handsome and good gentlemen and gentlewomen, ladies, as you're going to see a little bit later on in the show, have written. Find it at the BF Network app, or you can find it at www.thebuffalofanatics.com. But anyway, they had written a piece. Kevin, you had written a piece, man, about the Buffalo Bills running backs. And you actually, well, not necessarily the Bills running backs, but just I think you had ranked the top 10 running backs. And you had done a piece. I think you were working on like the whole 32, right? At one point, or was it just the top 10?
Yeah, for a little bit. So we were saying at the top of the show, this is obviously the dead point in the NFL season. So for the last few weeks, I've been trying to think of some more interesting topics to bring up. So if you guys have been following along, I did the all drought Bills team. I took a week on the offense, the defense, special teams, and the coaches and coordinators. And then the fourth week, I did the top 10 disappointments, or was it 10 or 50? It was something. It was with the all drought disappointments. And then I was thinking, well, there still really isn't that much more news to talk about, and I don't want to just keep harping on the same topics every week. So I was like, this is a perfect time to do some rankings as we head into the season. Maybe you're getting ready for fantasy drafts. So I ranked the top quarterbacks. I did all 32 for the quarterbacks. And then for this week, or this past week, it was the top 10 running backs. And now coming up this week will be the wide receivers.
Oh, nice. So let's just dive in, man. The top NFL running backs in 2022. You had put this out a few days ago. So talk about I guess just your top 10. I noticed you had gotten a little bit of pushback. And I think Zach, you had shared it, and I saw somebody just kind of like talking about who you have listed at number 10. But go ahead and if you can, just run through the list of who you have as your top 10 running backs, and I guess you can go ahead and start from 10 all the way and work your way all the way up.
Well, the first thing that I'll say is the biggest wrench in this was Christian McCaffrey, because we know how great he can be when he is on the field, but those are the key words, when he is on the field. So when he is 100%, he is a top 5, if not top 3 or 2 running back in the league.
Easily, yeah.
And he had those 2 seasons of back-to-back 1,000 yards. In 2019, he had over 1,000. Actually, he almost had 1,400 rushing yards and over 1,000 receiving yards, and I believe 18 touchdowns. So he was a machine. But again, he's only played 10 games over the last 2 years. So I was like, how can I put someone in my top 10 who we don't know exactly where he's at anymore? Because I could put him number 3. You draft him in fantasy. I'm not saying you're going to draft him that high in fantasy because I put him number 3. But
I'm definitely not drafting him that high in fantasy. I can't do it this year. Can't do it.
No, because
he's probably going to be undraftable.
No, like it could be August 5th. First week of training camp, he could tear his ACL again.
Right.
Not again, because I can't remember. What was it? Hamstring injuries that he had?
Yeah, I think it was hamstring injury. I think.
Yeah. So he just has
this leg injury in general.
Yeah. So I didn't know exactly where to put him. I had him at 5 originally. I thought that was a nice even ground, but then I was like, even that's kind of high for a guy that really hasn't been on the field when you have someone like Joe Mixon who's come in and he's been great for the Bengals over the last few years. So he made my top 10.
Yeah.
You're right around that same area. So I started off with McCaffrey as just an honorable mention because, again, if he plays this year and he's healthy, he's going to be top 5. If he's hurt,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, third year in a row, he's not even close to the top 10 anymore.
So you got to put an asterisk behind his name. Yeah.
Yeah. So then at number 10, I went with Najee Harris. I thought that he came in and he had a great year for the Steelers. He had over 1,200 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. He also caught 74 passes for 467 yards and 3 touchdowns. So a lot of those yards came from the fact that Ben Roethlisberger really couldn't throw anymore, and he just became back down with everything.
Right.
I think that is going to be a focal point of the Steelers' offense again because, yeah, they have Mitch Trubisky, and I would say that's a slight upgrade. Trubisky's obviously not the best, but I think I'm rooting for Trubisky because, he's Josh Allen's backup, and he was just a cool guy. He recently got back.
Yeah, I want him to succeed. Yeah, definitely.
And after all that, with the 2017 draft, with the Bears taking him out of Holmes, I just feel bad for him. So I want him to succeed, not too much because I don't like the Steelers, but like I said, a slight upgrade over Roethlisberger. I think they're going to take some more shots downfield.
Right.
But at the same point, I think Najee Harris is going to be the focal point of their offense because Trubisky doesn't have the physical traits like someone like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes does. So that team is kind of built around that physical ground and pound rushing attack.
Dude, and can I say this, Kevin? Like, I absolutely love Najee Harris. I saw somebody, man, which was kind of trolling, Zach, when you had retweeted it. They said Najee is overrated. That's cap. That is straight cap. You know who you are. That is straight cap, man. Look, I love Najee, and Brandon Beane likes Najee too because if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe the year before he actually decided to come out, there was talk that Brandon Beane was very interested in bringing Najee and drafting him, and I think even a lot of the draft guys, the draft gurus, were even slotting him to the Bills. I think it was, but I think his draft projection or his round projection was far later than round 1. I want to say it was like round 2, round 3, somewhere around there. But there were rumors that Brandon Beane was interested in Najee Harris, but then he decided to go back to Alabama that year, and then we know what happened. We ended up getting Devin Singletary. But Najee Harris, man, look, he so fits the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and their whole just their identity, their culture fit, right? They're a ground and pound team, they're a physical team. But you give him the ball like that, I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he's a power back. I mean, he's a lead guy. He's a bell cow. He worked on his craft when he went back to Alabama. From his receiving standpoint, right? And so he's gotten better in that aspect. But man, you get a guy with his size and his speed, his ability, plus he can come out of the backfield and catch some passes and even some routes. He's a very, very underrated back, in my opinion. Definitely not overrated.
Yeah, and everyone gets better in their second year. I mean, I guess you could have that sophomore stuff, but the longer you're in the league, the better you're going to get. And while he's still in his prime years, he really hasn't even reached his prime yet because he's still young.
No, he really hasn't. And then the offensive line wasn't all that good either last year. And so I think over the course of time, as it progresses, he's going to get even better and better and better. And plus, now I don't think they're necessarily going to have to rely on him too much to wear him out, because they have weapons on the outside and they have a more efficient quarterback. And Mitch Trubisky than they had in an aging Ben Roethlisberger. So, yeah, man, I think the sky's the limit for Najee. Where do you guys slot him in the fantasy draft? We're like I'm trying to get some tidbits, man. I'm trying to get some tidbits. Zach, it looks like you've got some knowledge, man, on the fantasy aspect. Now, I play in a PPR league, so if you're going to draft Najee Harris, where would you draft him?
I would say, me personally, just in terms of like who's available, and you're talking about PPR, so you get points per reception. He's probably going to go in the first round.
Easily.
He probably will, especially because he had such a good rookie year, and everyone's expecting him to do better. So, he, like you said, like we were talking about with McCaffrey earlier, like if he's healthy, he's the number 1 fantasy running back. Najee Harris probably will be the first, second, or third running back taken in fantasy drafts this year. Yeah,
especially like you mentioned with CMC, and then so we don't know, and I'm sure Jonathan Taylor. I mean, we'll get into Jonathan Taylor here shortly too. But Kev, I'm sorry, you had mentioned it, and I just had to jump in there because I'm thinking about fantasy also, man. And so I'm trying to get some ideas going with fantasy.
I was going to say real quick, put it this way: would you draft Najee Harris or Christian McCaffrey this year? If they're
Najee.
both still there.
Najee.
Najee,
I can count on Najee. I can count on Najee. Christian, it's a toss up. Now he's worth maybe a second round pick. Maybe you just take a flyer on him. And then, and if you've already drafted a running back in round one, and then you just circle back and you decide to get like a guy like McCaffrey. I'm not sure where he's slotted in the tiers when it comes to fantasy, maybe second round, maybe third round. I don't know. But in my league, man, running backs come off the board early. And so getting two backs is, if you don't get them by the first couple of rounds, man, you're going to be struggling. And so, I'm definitely taking Najee over CMC, which kind of sounds weird, right? It sounds weird because CMC was like top running back in fantasy like last year, and so like now, I can't. I'm scared to touch him. But go ahead with your list, man. So you had and we don't want to. I don't want to give the viewers too much because you got to go out there and check that article out. Okay, so go ahead and download the BF. If you haven't done it right now, 53 minutes going into the show. If you have not downloaded the app by now, go ahead and do it. BF Network app, okay, where you can find all of these articles, and you can find the article that my man Kev wrote. And so you had talked about, so you had put Najee Harris at 10, okay. Now I want to skip along a little bit. Let's go up now to 5, okay. So at 5, you've got Joe Mixon as a top running back. Talk to me about why you think Joe Mixon is a top 5 running back in the league.
Yeah, so like I said in the article, it might be a bit generous having him that high, but Mixon had a great year. Obviously, he helped the Bengals reach a Super Bowl. But again, going back to McCaffrey, this is a spot where McCaffrey would be in any normal year, and Alvin Kamara too. And Kamara had a down year, and he might get suspended for 6 games this year.
Yeah.
So between those two guys, Mixon would probably be 7 or 8. But because we don't know what's going to happen with McCaffrey, we don't know how Kamara is going to respond from his injuries and how the Saints are going to respond this year with Jameis Winston hopefully coming back. That's where I figured, you know what, Joe Mixon, he had a great year. He had – actually, I just realized he had the same amount of rushing yards as Najee Harris, but just over 1,200. He had 13 rushing touchdowns, and he recorded a PFF rushing grade of 82.1, the highest in his career. Now, the one thing holding him back is – his pass catching abilities and his protection. And that's where we saw, even in the Super Bowl, when they took him out for Samaje Perine went in, and then Chris Evans went too.
Yeah.
He's losing snaps to those guys. If he can get that figured out, he could legit be a top 5 running back where you don't even have to question, should you put him 5, 6, 7, 8? If he can figure that out, that would be great for him and for the Bengals, because he has all the talent right there.
I love Joe Mixon, man. I love him coming out. Of course, I'm an OU fan, and so I got the pleasure of watching him at Oklahoma. Love Mixon, absolutely love him. He's always been kind of like an underrated guy, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that he was been with the Bengals, all these years. So he just wasn't getting talked about enough, and so I'm glad that he finally popped in the national spotlight, so to speak. Last year he's been doing this, and of course he has some injury issues as well, here and there. But man, when he's on. It's hard to find too many backs, all around backs that are better than Joe Mixon. And granted, like you had mentioned, he does struggle with pass protection. And with him being in the year this long, I'm not too sure if he still has it in him to even improve that level of his game. He may not. But yeah, if he does that, and is able to stay healthy, yeah, Joe Mixon is definitely a top 5 guy. And then you round off the top 5 with. Who you have slotted at number 1, which I think is no surprise to anybody at all who's been watching football, for the past couple of years. It's Jonathan Taylor. Talk about Jonathan Taylor, man.
I was going to give it to Derrick Henry just because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, and he is just he has a size speed combo like I've never seen before. I would be scared to death if I was on the field and he was coming at me full force. I don't know what I would do. I think Micah Hyde went directly at him last year, and I was like, "That's a bad man right there."
Yeah, no, you're about to kill yourself, Micah.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened to Josh Norman a couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, no part of that.
So I went with Jonathan Taylor because for 2 reasons. One, the talent is there, and also he's 5 years younger than Henry. Now, again, I think Derrick Henry, he's still in his prime. He's 28. I think he still has a few good years left in him, but at some point, that usage is going to catch up to him.
It has to, right?
That wear and tear is going to get to him eventually, and the Titans can't keep riding him out because Ryan Tannehill is getting closer and closer to not being a starting quarterback in the NFL anymore, and they're going to rely on Henry this year and next year, probably while Malik Willis is developing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, it's going to catch up to Derrick Henry. He's going to keep him relevant. He's going to keep him afloat. But, again, there's got to be a point where his body just says, no, you're not 25 years old anymore.
Yeah, Derrick Henry has a ton of usage. And then you think about it, like all the usage from Alabama, right? And then he goes into the NFL. And, Zach, you can touch on this too. He's getting, well over 200 carries a year since he's been in the league. I mean, golly, it's ridiculous to think about the amount of carries. And I get it. This guy he's huge. He's built like a freaking brick house, right? He's freaking 250, for a running back. And you think that, he's just a machine, but eventually, man, those gears are going to start getting stuck, and then he's going to break down. I mean, I don't know how much more the Titans can continue to rely on Derrick Henry as much as they have been in the past, especially when you consider the fact that they got rid of A.J. Brown. What do you think about that, Zach? Henry, man, can you see them continuing that type of usage for him?
The big problem here is the fact that, like you said, he's been used so much, especially over the last 3 years. It's insane.
Insane.
He had 303 carries.
Yes.
2020, when he had over 2,000 rushing
yards,
almost
400.
78. And then last year, he only played 8 games, but he was on pace for over 400 carries.
It's ridiculous, man.
It's insane. And
he had 937 rushing yards in 8 games and 10 touchdowns.
The dude is freaking. He's like I said, he's a machine, right? He's a machine, and he's productive. But eventually, man, you can't a guy like him. He can't continue to have well over 200 carries every year, and take that punishment on his body. I get it. He's a big guy, but eventually, man, it's gonna wear out.
Yeah, it's especially like you said, they just trade away A.J. Brown. So there goes one of your top weapons. Yep. Julio Jones is gone as well. I mean, they brought in Robert Woods, but he's still recovering from his injury. Treylon Burks is a mystery because he's a first-round pick, and he still needs some development. I mean, you don't even know Ryan Tannehill is still going to be there next year. Malik Willis has promised, but you don't know what that situation is going to be like. So it seems like they're sort of forcing themselves to possibly have to keep relying on Derrick Henry, and who knows when the wheels come off. But
and so it has to be, right? It has to be, and especially I mean running backs at that age, right, when they started approaching 30 is kind of when things started going down the hill. Now I'm not for all we know, Derrick Henry could be a freaking aberration, right? He can just be that guy who just he could just overcome all of that stuff. So we don't know, but I agree with you though, Kev. I mean, I would put Jonathan Taylor right now, younger guy, at number 1. But even he though, I mean, when you look at even Jonathan Taylor, he had a lot of carries last year, man. Mm-hmm. A lot of carries. I think what
332.
Yeah, 330. So and then his rookie year, 230. So so they gave him an extra 100 carries last year. Do I think that he's going to have that much again this year? I don't think so. I mean, with Matt Ryan, the addition of him, I think they will probably utilize the passing game more often. But make no mistake about it. That offense is probably going to run through Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's a former second-round pick. And as a rookie, he had 1,169 yards and 11 touchdowns, like you said, on 232 carries. And then in his second year, talked about some of those guys having those sophomore slumps. Well, he absolutely exploded, and he had over 1,800 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns on 332 carries. So in 2 years, he has almost 3,000 rushing yards and 29 touchdowns. And he's a pretty good receiving back, too, as we saw in the Bills game, unfortunately, in November. But this is a guy that's just the complete back. And, again, like we were saying, eventually it'll probably catch up to him if they're going to give him 300 handoffs a year. Mm-hmm. But for now, while he's, 23, 24?
He's young.
There's a limit with this guy.
Yeah, he's long. He's young. And it makes me wonder if he will see that second contract, if they continue this kind of usage. I'm thinking of like Ezekiel Elliott, in Dallas, how they just used him. Now they paid him, you know what I'm saying? But I don't necessarily know. I mean, but if you got a back like that, I mean, it makes sense business wise, right? Get all the usage out of them while they're on that rookie contract, and then second contract comes up. If you start seeing a decline, you go ahead and move on from them. But you know what, Kev, I did notice though in this list that you created, there wasn't a guy on there that maybe Bills fans are like, well, why isn't this guy on the list? We don't see Devin Singletary on that list, man.
Yeah.
So you're saying Devin Singletary is not a top 10 back in the NFL right now? I've heard people even try to put out the fact that they believe that Devin he's a top 10 back. But according to you, Kev, you don't see that.
I don't. I don't even have him in my top 20. And I love Singletary. I love him. But I just think that he is not in that top probably 2 tiers, right? Like this is tier 1. Maybe you could break it into even 3 tiers. But for now, we'll just do it this way where I did tier 1 with the top 10, I guess 11 with McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. And then there was another tier where I went up to 20. And I was like, I really don't think that Singletary is part of this. Now, he had a great end of the year last year, and he really turned it on. And I think one of the biggest things that helped him was not only Ryan Bates and the offensive line coming together so well, but also the Bills kind of gave him that trust that you're RB1 going forward. Mm-hmm. Where he didn't have to worry about splitting snaps with Zach Moss and Matt Breida. And Motor just put his head down and said, okay, I'm the guy. And I think that helped a lot. But at the end of the day, I still don't think that he is better than, I don't know, I'm just going to throw someone out there like Leonard Fournette. I would still take Leonard Fournette over Devin Singletary. And I'll get to Leonard Fournette a little bit because I'm going to briefly just touch on some of the guys that I have ahead of him. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I love the Bills' backfield now. Even though I'm not that high on Singletary, I'm high on the Bills' backfield as a whole because what they did with that James Cook draft pick, you guys know I was on that all offseason. I was like, this is a guy – speedy, shifty, pass-catching back. You complement him with Singletary. That balances it out perfectly. You get Duke Johnson, too. You still have Zach Moss. So even though the Bills don't have one of those top-tier running backs, I would say they have a top-tier duo because I think that's where we're going in the NFL, where you don't need that bell cow back anymore. Someone like we're talking about Najee Harris. Gone are those days in the NFL because now everything is with the passing game. So
okay, so Kevin, hold on. Let me jump in real quick, okay? Because I've got to ask this question now. So now, where does the Bills' backfield rank? Like if you talk about them in general, right? With Motor, James Cook, Moss, Duke Johnson, where would you rank them in the league?
I think it's definitely got to be top 10, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really thought about it completely yet in terms of rankings.
Yeah.
You might even be able to make a case for top 5. I mean, I love what teams like the Browns, the Packers, even the Cowboys, the Broncos. I think the blueprint was kind of set with Cleveland. Not that they like really set it out, but you have that big, powerful running back with Nick Chubb, and then you have Kareem Hunt and now Dearness Johnson too.
Yes.
And then with the Packers, I know Aaron Jones is RB1, so they kind of flip roles here, but A.J. Dillon is that
he's that bruiser.
He's a bruiser. Mm-hmm. Aaron Jones is a speedy, shifty guy. And then you go out to Denver, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams.
Yes.
Dallas has Zeke and Tony Pollard. So
even the Chargers now, they with Austin Eckler, and then they drafted C.J. Spiller.
Yeah.
And then Spiller from A&M.
Even an underrated team like Seattle, who no one has expectations for them, but you have Rashad Penny. He was like Motor. He had a great end of the season, and now they draft Kenneth Walker. Who knows what they can do?
And they have Chris Carson too.
Yeah,
still, yeah. So that running back by committee is, is becoming the new model in the NFL. And you know what? I mean, I can't even lie. Like in the offseason, I wasn't even thinking about James Cook. Like my thing was I wanted somebody better than Motor because I thought that he's going into the final year of his contract. There's no way I see Brandon Beane signing him, bringing him back, right? So we need somebody who can handle that RB1 role. And so I was all aboard, the Breece Hall train. But I mean, after getting James Cook, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, I can see the dynamic. I can see the dynamic in the offense and what he could bring out of the backfield. But when you talk about like a guy like Duke Johnson, I'm curious to see like who's actually going to be on the cutting block, because there's no way we're going into the season with Motor, Cook, Moss, and Duke Johnson. Of course, we know Tyrone Jones is going to be there, special teams. But do you see any of those four right now, outside of Tyrone Jones, being cut or not making the final 53 roster?
I feel like you kind of have to, because then you look at the wide receivers. We've been talking about the slot position, and it's like, well, someone's got to go from there, right? Yeah. Maybe not. I mean, I don't see him cutting Crowder. They signed him for a reason. McKenzie, right. We love McKenzie. Maybe Marquez Stevenson gets cut. Tavon Austin is here now. So there's so many guys at the slot receiver position. That makes it harder for the running backs.
Right.
Because if the Bills didn't load up at wide receiver, you could say, okay, maybe we can keep 5 running backs.
Right, exactly. Uh-huh.
But now, both of those positions are just so complete.
Right. But Duke Johnson, do you think Duke Johnson is kind of in the mold of like James Cook? Like, do you think they kind of share similar skill sets?
Yeah, I think he's an older version of James Cook. And I like that, because that's what you need, right? The Bills need speed, speed and talent. So I think Zach Moss is the odd man out.
Me too.
But they might want to keep him, because Josh Allen has been the one that's been taking Moss's snaps, because he is a big bruiser. When you need 2 or 3 tough yards, you go to Allen. Have shown that they kind of want to preserve Allen's body.
Man, that's going to be tough, though, Kev, because I'm like, the more I think about it, man, the more I'm just like, oh, my gosh, I don't know, because you have to take Motor's contract into account, right? And the understanding that Moss is just a year behind him. So if you don't have any if Bean is like, I'm not going to bring Motor back, and you end up cutting Moss, you essentially just have James Cook and Duke Johnson, right? And so you're going to have to go back into the draft, or maybe you're in free agency, and add another guy. So it almost kind of makes sense to, I guess, keep Moss around, right, for the future aspect of it, right? And be willing to part ways with Motor after you get the most out of him in a contract season, and then you go into next season, or at least the off season, with Moss and Cook. Duke Johnson, I don't think they're going to keep him, especially depending upon what they see out of James Cook this year, right? And so he may be, you may be able to get rid of him, and then so that gives you an opportunity to at least have a somewhat of a solidified backfield, and then it gives you the opportunity to maybe decide, hey, you know what, I think we need to add another guy in here because Moss is going to be coming up in a year later. So there's a lot of decisions that Brandon Beane has to make that's way above my pay grade. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just excited about training camp and what he can offer. John Williams comes in and he's talking about James Cook. He says, can Cook block in the NFL? Pass catch, pass block. I mean, of course he's a rookie, man. But so Kev, what do you see out of James Cook, and what do you think he can bring? Like, do you think he's that guy who can pass block? I don't think he's there yet at all in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit smaller. I think he can. I can't remember what the pre-draft analysis was on him. I can't remember if they said that he's been working on it and he's getting better. I don't want to speak out of turn here without knowing. But I know that that's something that the Bills like with Zach Moss, his pass protection. So that's another thing that comes into play. And then we know how much the Bills value special teams. So can Duke Johnson play special teams? Can Zach Moss? I don't think so. Can James Cook do something on special teams? Can he return punts if need be? That's the first time I've heard of that. I'm just throwing that out there. But
yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah, man, that's great. That's a great point.
There's so many different variables that if it were me, I would probably cut Zach Moss just because of the season that he had last year. But then again, you look at it, and he was never right from those injuries. The ankle injury that he suffered against the Colts in the 2020 playoffs, they said that that's why he wasn't able to cut. And that would make sense because he had a wide open end zone against the Patriots in that Monday night game. And that one still bothers me.
It bothers me too. It bothers me too, and it bothered Rico. He threw a clip out there and was just so upset about it, and I can't blame him. I think if gun to my head right now, I would say Duke Johnson is the man out. That's just kind of what I would think, because you don't have to utilize Moss in the way you utilize you run Motor. You can just use kind of Moss as that closing back, to close out games, 4-minute offense, and just pound them up the gut, whatever, don't make them, have to bounce outside and make these kind of, vision cuts. Just pound the rock, slow the game down, tempo kind of guy. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I know, and I want to bring this person on real quickly as we shift gears here, because we're an hour and then some change into the show. And the guy, again, to everybody who's watching live, appreciate you guys so very much for joining us on the first edition of the Riders Club presented by the Buffalo Fanatics. And to everybody who's watching on replay, thank you so very much. Do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Smash those likes right now. But I've got somebody that we also want to bring in. She's a contributor to the Fanatics, and she's very chaotic, very, very chaotic. But Zach, you want to touch on this because she has this British take, right? That trying to I guess you can say trying to make the NFL make sense for what do you call them? Plonkers? Is that what you call them?
Yeah, that's what she calls them. I've never heard that phrase before, but
I've never heard that. I have never heard that before. And so, what I want to do real quickly is I want to bring her on, and I want her to try to, make sense of this running back room here that Kevin has talked about, and make it make sense for those British plonkers. But guys, look, you know her well. She is none other than. I hope she's ready. She's sitting in the green screen, and and she's got this background going on. I'm gonna show her. Let's bring her on. Here she is. Hey, Twinkie right? Winky. Chaotic Savage Trish. She is in the building. Trish, what is going on? How are you doing?
I am all right. It's hot here today. I'm not supposed to be hot here, so I've got the fan on.
I'm all right. It's hot here today.
No, don't do that, Rev.
Do you how is my accent? Is it good? It's not. It's
awful. This is embarrassing awful. For you.
No,
it's embarrassing for you and every American to ever exist.
Well, can you do an American accent? I've always wondered. I've seen actors. I'm like, how can you do that?
There's too many American accents to focus in on everywhere you go.
Focus on one. Just focus on one. I'm putting you on the spot.
I can't. Absolutely.
No, it's not can't. It's can't. I can't.
No.
Say can't. I got to have some fun with Trish. So Trish she is another contributor to the BF, right, to the Fanatics, and I want her to kind of she likes running backs, but there's one back that she really likes. But maybe you can call him a tight end, or maybe you can call him a fullback. I don't know, because Kevin decided that he was not important enough to even put in the list either. Reggie Gillum, and this is another guy that Trish has really been trying to get his attention for I don't know how long, but she's been trying to get his attention, Reggie Gillum. But Trish, do us this favor. First of all, say hi to those who are watching. And then
hello.
I want you to try to explain some of this stuff that Kevin has been talking about to those British plonkers. And where does that come from anyway?
Plonker just means idiot. It's just something that it's just like a slang term for idiot. Like, someone will do something stupid, like, why are you being such a plonker? So that's what
noted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it.
Oh, you should. You most definitely should.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So any British person who's reading the article will know immediately who I'm referring to.
No doubt. Yeah. Okay. So Trish, what do you think about Kev's list? The top. I mean, the top 10 that he's mentioned, but he doesn't have Motor Singletary on that list. Do you agree, disagree, or where would you put Motor?
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's not top 10. I do like him. I do think he's the Bills RB1, but he's not top 10 for sure. I don't think so. I do think you could put him in top 20. I'm not sure where, possibly 15 to 20 I would put him.
Okay.
Just because of what he did towards the end of the season. He broke out, and I don't think you can blame that on him. You blame that on the play calling and what they were doing. So I think if they put him into the game as much as they did towards the end of the season, he can definitely climb the ranks and get into that top 15, top 10 position this season. It's just about where they used him. I think he's got the potential to do that. But at the same time, I don't want them to use him too much, because I do like having Josh Allen there. I mean, when you've got a quarterback like that, you don't want to be using your backfield too often.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. And so I think it's going to be a good balance, like you mentioned earlier, Kev. Right? It's going to be a good balance with James Cook and Motor Singletary. What I like about it, maybe people are like poo-pooing Motor because of this fact, but he's not going to see a lot of heavy boxes, right? When you've got Josh Allen, and you've got Steph Diggs, Gabe Davis, Jamison Crowder, McKenzie, and the likes. I mean, you've got all of those weapons, Dawson Knox, OJ. Oh my gosh, just incredible amount of weapons at their disposal. You're not going to see heavy boxes, so that bodes well for the running backs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it could also kind of not be a good thing because then, you talk about like a bell cow back with like someone like Najee Harris. He's going to get the ball every time. Singletary might not get the ball that much because the ball's in Josh Allen's hands. You're not going to have the ball in Mitch Trubisky's hands like you are with Josh Allen. So I can see it working both ways.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is when it's time to run the ball, they're going to be running against light boxes, and so it should be so the running game for the Bills you see what I'm saying should be more, I guess, more efficient or it'll be easier for Singletary and the guys to really get those yardage because they're not facing those heavy boxes like you can expect Najee Harris and the Steelers to face. You can expect Jonathan Taylor to face, and all those guys who are bell cow backs whose offense is centered around them. Right, they're going to get a lot of attention. Our running backs are not going to get a lot of attention, so it bodes well for them when it comes time to actually running the ball. I guess we can expect to see more efficiency from that standpoint. It's kind of what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Trish. Explain it real quickly to these plonkers. About I guess just the running backs and what Kev was talking about. For all those, I mean, we got UK fans watching. I mean, all of that kind of stuff. So explain it to them. Make it make sense for your British plonkers.
So your running backs are the guys who are supposed to run up the field. They don't always do that.
Hold on. Time out. This is too good. This is too good. I gotta follow you, okay? I gotta follow you. All right, so here you go. Yo, listen to Savage Trish, okay? She's chaotic, and she's chaotic for a reason. But she knows football. All right, don't sleep. This is for you British plonkers. Go ahead, Trish. Tinky Winky.
All right, so your running backs, they're the guys that are supposed to run up the field when they get the ball in their hands. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they decide to drop it the second the quarterback gives them the ball. Other times they run in the opposite direction, and sometimes they run directly into defenders, which is not what they're supposed to do. But they do run all the way up the field. Sometimes they get a bit too aggressive, like Derrick Henry. We don't want that kind of running back facing our defenders because it was a bit embarrassing for Josh Norman. I think everyone can agree with that. But yeah, that is basically what they do. Anything else is irrelevant because some of them are supposed to block, but they're terrible at that. You can't do that. And then you get your fullbacks who are a wasted roster position. In my personal opinion, there's no need for them to be there. But yeah, that is a very British breakdown.
Yo, no doubt about it. Yo, you gotta love Trish. She is a favorite, man. That girl, she's crazy. Seriously, she's out of this world, man. But I love how she breaks it down for everybody, especially for those. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna use it with that accent. Not accent, accent. I'm gonna use it accent. I don't care how it sounds, but I'm gonna do it. So, Trish, appreciate you so very much, girl. Matter of fact, hold on, let me bring you back to the stream because I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on social media. So go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so it's just savage _ Trish on Twitter and on Instagram. So just find me there. I've changed my handle to Chaotic Trish, so you can find it there as well. Please don't search for Tinky Winky; you won't get the right results.
You won't get it. All right, Trish. Good looking out. All right, girl. We'll see you later. All right.
Thanks, man.
Okay, man. Yo, you gotta love Trish. Gotta love Trish. All right, so Kev, you're gonna stay here. You're gonna stay here. And everybody knows by now you can find all of these articles on the BF Network app. And matter of fact, if you don't know anything about it, check it out right here real quickly and stay tuned because I've got another guy coming on right here. He's been waiting patiently in the green room. My man, Bryce Martino. I see you, baby. You're coming up soon. Here we go. But until then, BF Network app. Check this out.
Overdrive.
Yeah, yes, sir. So download the BF Network app, and you can find all of these incredible articles from all of these and all of your favorite BF contributors. So right now, I've got somebody here in the background. He's been, like I said, sitting here waiting patiently to get in. And that is none other than Bryce Martino. Come on in here, Bryce. What's up, baby? How you doing, man?
What's going on? Good to be here.
Oh, so Bryce, man, Bryce is another fantastic contributor to the Buffalo Fanatics Network, and he continues to put out article after article and just a lot of great content. And so, Bryce, man, hey, I'm glad that you are joining us today for the Writers Club, man. Let everybody know how you feeling, and say hello to all of those beautiful Buffalo Fanatics who are watching all around the world.
What's going on? It's good to be here. My name is Bryce Martino, obviously. You can find me on the Buffalo Fanatics Twitter. I run that, and I think I do it pretty well, I have to say. You can find me...
No doubt.
You can find me writing articles for Buffalo Fanatics. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the FB Analyst.
Sweet. So you guys make sure you go ahead. Make sure you follow my man Bryce. He's dope. I mean, like I said, we have some of the best in the business, man. I'm just, call me Homer or whatever. I mean, I just believe it, man. We've got some of the best in the business, and we've got to, give credit where credit's due. Zach and Kevin and a lot of the guys here at BF, man, they've been putting together an incredible team, and Bryce is just another member of that team. And so, Bryce, we are so glad to have you on the show, man. You had talked about, you had put out an article, man, about the cornerbacks, man. You had mentioned something that we're gonna see a whole lot out of here in training camp, and that was a cornerback 2 battle, man. Cornerback 2 battle between Dane Jackson and Kaiir Elam. Why don't you go ahead and just talk to us a little bit about that article and what you are expecting to see out of those 2 guys?
Yeah, so obviously we don't know when Trey White's going to be back. It's been a mystery ever since OTA started.
Yeah.
If Trey does miss part of the season, obviously Elam and Dane Jackson are going to be taking over the starting cornerback roles.
Yeah.
But after that, once Trey comes back, it's kind of up for debate, because Dane obviously looked pretty good like towards the end of the season and during the playoffs. Got some praise from coaching staff. They called him like one of the best tacklers in the game. He's
a very good tackler. Very good tackler, and I know McDermott. He really appreciates that, and I think that's one of the values that he has when he's looking at cornerbacks is they have to tackle. They have to be able to tackle in this scheme.
And I think he filled in pretty well for Trey White too, considering everything that happened and doing it in such short time.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, you got Kaiir Elam, who was your first round draft pick. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of the hype.
Right.
Obviously, like a first-round pick, you don't want him to be on the bench to start the season.
Right, no doubt.
But he's still kind of a mystery, too, because he's had an up-and-down training camp, or OTAs and mini camp, I should say.
Right.
So, obviously, if he's still raw, you don't want to put him in too soon, going against some of the Rams receivers, Bengals receivers.
Yeah.
Guys like that.
Yeah, and I agree, man, because first of all, I mean, I'm like so interested in seeing that battle. If I know McDermott, I mean, if any of us know him, we know that he kind of leans to vets, right? I mean, he's because of that experience factor. Dane Jackson has been in the system for a while now. He has the trust of those 2 incredible all-pro safeties behind him also, and so they're going to have a lot of say, I believe, and who they feel most comfortable with to start the season. But that battle, though, man, is going to be good. And I think it's not. I think the battle is not necessarily for who's going to start, because we know those 2 are going to start the season. But it has a lot to do with when Trey comes back, and that is going to be. Oh man, can we get Trey back as soon as possible, please? I mean, because when I looking at this, and me and Zeba, we had talked about this. In our show, we talked about the schedule, right? And there's the Bills have a tough schedule coming up, and it kicks off early and often. I mean, there's some teams, man, that the Bills are gonna have to come correct on really, really quick out of the gate. And I'm kind of nervous, man, when it comes to those two guys, because we face, obviously, we know in the kickoff game against the Rams, we've got Matthew Stafford, right? I mean, so they're facing like elite level quarterbacks. Matt Stafford throwing to Cooper Kupp, right? Who led the league in receptions and all the yards and all that kind of stuff, right? And then you've got Allen Robinson, who they threw in also. And so, like, I'm like, golly, man, off the cuff, these guys are gonna get tested. Now, I like Kaiir Elam, and you had mentioned something here in your article about just his prototype, man. I mean, just the size that he offers to the Bills' defensive backfield that we don't really have. And so talk about that, because Kaiir, he's not a small guy by any stretch of the imagination, and he's incredibly fast.
Yeah, one thing that Buffalo's been lacking in years past is size. You got Trey White, who's 6 foot. You had Levi Wallace, who's like 5'10", 5'11", somewhere like that. So adding someone like, Kaiir Elam, who can go up against the Devontae Parkers of the NFL, who's, I know we're facing them twice a year again, but still.
Right.
And then guys like Tyreek Hill, you can match Elam up with his speed. I think he ran, 4.35?
Yeah, exactly.
It was somewhere crazy like
for a
that.
guy. Yeah. So 4.39 or something. So he's fast. So he brings that speed element to the game, which is what McDermott and even Bean were talking about, right, Zach? I mean, they were talking about, we need to add speed to the. I mean, we've seen it at time and time again, right? The last couple of years in the playoffs, we've been freaking beaten by Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, but mainly it's Tyreek Hill. It's been Tyreek Hill who's been killing us. And so there's been a need for speed in the secondary, right? A need for speed. I mean, we had Levi Wallace, not a fast guy at all. I mean, we even saw it against the Patriots. If not for that incredible interception by Micah Hyde, Levi got burnt. That was a touchdown waiting to happen, if not for Micah Hyde saving the day, right, and changing the momentum of that game. Levi's got burned, so he's a slow guy. Dane Jackson is not a fast guy either. And so, so when you have Kaiir Elam running a sub 4.40, that has to help, especially with matchups where matchups are concerned. Zach, would you agree with that?
Definitely. Like, let's put it this way. Remember, not this past playoff against the Chiefs, but the year before, that one play where Tyreek Hill busted loose. Who was the closest guy to him? Justin Zimmer.
I remember that. Yeah.
Was the guy chasing him down. Not Levi Wallace, not Dane Jackson, because obviously Dane Jackson was on the team. But the point being, it's been a persistent problem.
Yeah.
Fans have known it. I think deep down the Bills knew it too, and then just didn't realize it until last year, especially when you were 13 seconds away from going to the AFC Championship game. Man, you didn't even actually, that big Tyreek Hill touchdown reception didn't need to happen.
Oh, gosh, man.
But they finally did. They bucked the trend. They finally took a first-round corner, finally took a speedy corner.
Yeah.
And I think that he is going to be the long-term solution at CB2. And he has the upside to possibly be a CB1 quality player.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think initially, because like you said, Bean likes to ease the rookies in.
Mm-hmm.
Dane Jackson will probably get the initial nod because he has more experience. But then he'll gradually ease in Kaiir Elam into that spot.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, but I think just going into the season, I mean, they're both going to have to start. I don't see Kaiir Elam not starting on the opposite, at least until Trey White gets back. I don't see them going with anybody else, right, starting on the other side. So they have to get him in pretty quickly in training camp. But after that, when Trey is healthy, that's when you're going to really see, all right, who's going to be the guy, because the competition is not just going to be in training camp, right? The competition, I think they're going to be looking at how these guys perform in live regular season action as well, right? To determine, all right, who's going to be the one who's going to get the nod beside Tre'Davious White when he comes back fully healthy. Now, Bryce, you had talked about also in this piece where you guys can follow it. You can find them. All of these articles, man, on the BF Network app. Go ahead and download that right now. You can find Bryce's article. You can find all these guys' articles, or you can go to the BuffaloFanatics.com. But Bryce, you had talked about Kaiir's even coming out of college. He has a low passer rating against him. Talk about that for a second, real quickly.
It's the third best among SEC corners at 55.6 since 2019. So obviously he's he's showing up every week and dominating, even in college.
Yeah. And that's against some of the best talent, because I guess we can all agree SEC are the kings, of college football. And so he's been doing that against the best of the best, since 19. And so you can only expect, I guess, him to be able to carry that over. Of course, there's going to be some trial and error, right? Adjusting to the NFL, but he has a talent. He has the upside to do it in the NFL. And what I also like about him is he's a more of a physical press, a man corner than the guys that we have, even more so than Tre'Davious White has shown. So I think with the scheme that we run, is it possible to see him in more press man coverage? Either one. Kev, do you want to jump on that? What do you think that we can expect to see out of Kaiir Elam when it comes to press versus zone coverage?
Well, that was a thing. You might have just been saying it, but was he better? He played a lot of man in college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Levi was great with zone. But
Yeah,
going back to the conversation with what we're saying about Levi and Dane, I've liked those guys. But for the last couple of years, I was telling my friends, Levi's not the answer. I like him. He's a perfect Buffalo story, undrafted free agent. He's worked his way up.
Right.
Same thing with Dane Jackson. Late round draft pick. I love the story. But at the end of the day, they're not going to get us over the hump to get to the Super Bowl. And I wanted to see them get an upgrade. So I love that they drafted Elam in the first round because I think he has those physical traits that can match up with guys like Tyreek Hill. Not that I don't think the Dolphins are going to be the AFC Championship game this year. But, just guys like that, the NFL is becoming so speedy and just quick and athletic. You need guys on the opposite end to match up. So the Bills play a lot of zone, but I think that they're going to try to mesh their coverages and their schemes with the talent that they have. So the Bills do play man. I think they're just going to mix it up a little bit more based on the talent that they have on their roster now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you had mentioned Tyreek Hill. You don't think that the Dolphins are going to be in the AFC Championship game. I agree, but we are going to get our dose of them and fairly early in the season too. So I'm interested to see that because if Trey does not make it by what is that? What week 4, or the third game against the Dolphins. So we're going to get a firsthand view of whether or not Kaiir Elam, because I expect him to kind of match Tyreek. If Trey's not there, I don't see them putting Dane Jackson on Tyreek. He's going to get burnt. So at least match speed for speed, and we'll see how he fares against a guy of that talent. And so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that battle in training camp. You had said Bryce, you had made a prediction about who you think will start initially, and you had made it. I guess you had even touched on it earlier that you think Dane's experience is going to be the one that'll put him over initially. But when Trey comes back, I think it's going to be very hard to keep Kaiir off the field. Not just because he's a first-round draft pick, but just because of his upside and what he brings. I think that he's going to show up, and by the time Trey gets back, I think you have to go with Kaiir because of the upside. Unless he just completely poo-poos the bed, it shows that he's just not ready, which I highly doubt. It's almost hard not to put him in the game, really, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, his size and speed is what's going to put him over Dane Jackson once Trey comes back, because you even mentioned it. His abilities, like, you can't keep him on the bench with his size and his speed and everything that he can bring to the game, especially early in the season, covering Tyreek Hill,
right,
covering Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, all these guys. You need him to be on the field as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? And then so that also makes our depth a whole lot better because now if you have Dane Jackson, as a depth option, I feel a whole lot better with let's say I'm talking about with Trey's back healthy, right? So you got Trey and Kaiir, right? But then you have Dane Jackson as that depth corner to come in, as opposed to last year when we just had we were rolling with Levi Wallace and So I think the depth has gotten stronger just by virtue of adding a guy of Kaiir's talent, right? So it pushes more talent down the depth chart. So I'm excited about that. Go ahead, Kev. What's up, man?
I just want to say,
yeah,
we can't sleep on Christian Benford either. I think this guy's going to be a really, really sneaky.
Talk about him, man. Yeah, because I haven't mentioned, and I did completely forget about Benford. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just looking at it, and I wrote about this. I don't even remember. I think back in April after the draft, but in 36 games at Villanova, he finished with 137 tackles, 47 pass breakups, and 14 interceptions. And quarterbacks had a 25.2 rating when targeting Benford in coverage last season. So this is a guy that was drafted in, what was he, a 6th-round pick?
Yeah, 6th-round pick.
Yeah, so a lot of people weren't too high on him. I mean, for the analysts that do this day in and day out, they're saying that this could be really good. But for someone like us, did you guys know about Benford on day 3?
No, I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah, and I thought I was doing a lot of research, but I hadn't even heard of him. So I think he's going to be a really, really sneaky addition to this roster.
He's a big corner, 6'1", 200, 205.
Yeah.
So again, another height, weight, guy. What did he run? Does anybody know that? I'm trying to look it up right now. What he ran?
He had an almost 92 PFF grade in 2021, and that was first amongst FCS cornerbacks.
Wow.
So he could be CB4 because I could totally see him beating out Cam Lewis, where it could be Trey, Elam, Dane, and Benford, and that would be a real solid 4 group of corners.
There you go. So I'm showing that he ran a sub 4.5, like a 4.4, 4.40. So a guy 6'1", 205, 4.40. Yeah, sign me up all day. So again, I was talking about depth with this Dane Jackson, but now you got Christian Benford. That's going to be very good, for the Bills. In case anything happens, or if Trey happens to miss, an extended amount of time, or just whatever the case may be, you always want to have. You can never have, too many cornerbacks on your roster, especially quality cornerbacks on your roster going into the season. Especially, looking at how the NFL is trending now with all of these wide receivers and a lot of these pass guys, these incredible passers like the likes of Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford, some of the guys that we're going to be facing. Having quality cornerbacks is going to bode well for the defense, no doubt about it. Well, guys, look, we are an hour and 40 into the show, and we are going to bring it to a conclusion. But I want right now, before we go anywhere, I want Bryce, my man Bryce. I need you to tell everybody who's watching where they can follow you and kind of let them know like what you've got coming up in the near future with the articles and what you got going on. So go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TFB Bryce and the FBN list. I've got a bunch of content going up on the football page every day, especially now with news and training camp and season rolling around. Everything's going to be happening, rolling in fast. But yeah, for articles, I'm going to be having a lot of training camp, 53-man roster predictions, position overviews going out every week. Can find me doing pretty much everything now.
Sweet. So like this is why we wanted to bring you this new show called the Writers Club, is because we've got a lot of talent, a lot of guys, and of course you also saw Trish in here. She's getting it in here too with the fellas. Incredible content. These guys are exceptional at what they do, and we are looking forward to I'm looking forward to the Bills season, man. I can't wait till training camp starts. July 24th kicks off. There's going to be a lot to look forward to, a lot of training camp battles. The cornerback 2 battle is going to be one. I'm looking forward to the running backs and seeing what's going to happen with the running backs. As you had mentioned, Kevin, man, that Duke Johnson, Zach Moss kind of piece right there, like what's going to happen with them. Wide receivers, I'm looking at that.
Duke there.
The Duke, yeah, you think so? Man, yeah, I'm interested, man. The D line, what they're there's going to be a whole lot going on, and you can guarantee the Buffalo Fanatics are going to bring you that content that you all so deserve, week to week to week. Because guess what? From week to week, we bring you that heat. So clear the tables, babies, because it's time to eat. This is how we do it at BF. And look, guys, from myself to Zach Vaughn, Kev Syracuse, my man Bryce Martino, Twinkie Winky, Chaotic Trish, Kyrie Demos, all of the contributors who joined us today on this Riders Club, and all of the ones who will join us later in the weeks to come. Look, salute to you all. We really appreciate you for joining us on the first installment, episode 1, el numero uno of the BF Riders Club. And guys, until next time, y'all, God bless. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again next time. And as always, you guys let them know. Let them know. What's the saying? Go what? Go Bills, baby. Come on. I said you guys. I set y'all up, man. Come on, man. Go Bills. Go Bills to everybody, man. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks again, and we will see you again next time. I've got to get my music popping off because this is how we do it. Baby. Yeah. Next week, we will see you here. God bless. Go big. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Download the BF Network app. All the latest and greatest Buffalo Bills content. Follow all of these guys on Twitter and all the social media platforms. We will see you again next week, same time, same place, baby. God bless. We're out.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.